What is going on in the world today? Welcome back to the channel. Um, really, I'm just coming on here because I haven't posted in such a long minute on this thing, but I really just want to start posting more often on here versus my other channel, Uncommon where I just kind of do short film stuff on conspiracies, finance stuff, inspiration, whatever. But I really wanted to come on here today because I'm going to mainly be talking about crypto. And I might ramble a little bit, but follow along and listen to the end because I really feel like I have some valuable information that I can share with you all that I've gathered from other sources and other forms of content and information that I've pieced together along the way. So really what I want to talk about is the XRP lawsuit, everything that has been pretty much going on with it as far as, how long it's been, why it was even in a lawsuit in the first place for some of those out there who are not familiar with the crypto space or XRP particularly. I can fill you in. XRP originally at the end of 2020, early 2021 was sued by the Security Exchange Commission, specifically the chairman of the board, Gary Gensler. He found that there was unregistered securities that had been sold through Ripple, the company that pretty much co-founded Ripple, or co-founded XRP, the digital asset, the digital token that's on what's called the XRPL, the XRP ledger. And through all this, he found in his findings that he believed that Ripple, the company that co-founded XRP, had sold unregistered securities in the form of sales of XRP to different financial institutions or other types of entities that would facilitate cross-border payments via XRP digital token. In doing so, this lawsuit dragged on for approximately 2.5 years, and we had no clarity. A lot of the space, especially all the altcoins besides Bitcoin, even Ethereum, were like, hey, if this lawsuit keeps going on, we don't know what the clarity is going to be, what the clarification is. That could put other digital assets at risk of potentially being deemed securities at a later time as well, especially if Ripple didn't win this case, which in turn, it was inevitable. It was always going to win. Ripple, the company, has no control over the digital asset XRP. It holds a majority of the supply, sure, but it doesn't necessarily dictate what goes on in and out of the network. That's controlled by validators, similar to node operators and people on the Bitcoin network, right? So it's the same kind of concept, just a different consensus method that they agree with transactions being in and going in and out of the blockchain, going in and out of the network. So this lawsuit, like I said, it dragged on for several years. It finally came to a halt today, which is, I believe today is July 13th from the last time that I checked. I could be wrong, but I believe today is July 13th, 2023. And that lawsuit was filed, I believe it was January of 2021. So that would, that would definitely be about 2.5 years. So 2.6, something like that. Because we're now in, 2.6 basically. So 2.5 years that this thing spanned, and we're finally at a close. And they deemed this morning, I literally woke up and the first video that I saw was this guy, Crypto Lulu, I believe his name is. And I follow his channel here and there, and I just kind of watch some of his content. And he had he was the only one that I saw out of everybody else at the time. And I woke up probably about 8 in the morning today. And he was the only one that I saw that was live streaming saying, hey, XRP not deemed a security, crypto party or something like that. And he was having a live stream doing a party. And I thought it was bullshit. I thought it was clickbait. I'm like, dude, because I've seen this stuff in the past where there's been XRP videos that say something similar to that, not necessarily that it's deemed not a security, but it'll say like XRP lawsuit coming to a close or at close or something indicating that the lawsuit is basically over. And that was always the case, and it usually was always a clickbait title, and then we found out, Ripple, the company, had like a good point of view, so in court, it ran well with the judge, right? But today, was different. I started watching a little bit of his video, and then I searched up, because I'm like, is there other videos out there? XRP not deemed as security. I just typed in something like that. Boom, instantly, multitudes of videos popping up saying, hey, XRP is not a security. So when I saw that, it was like music to my ears. It was excellent. Then I started seeing, after maybe 10, 15 minutes of me watching a couple other videos, possibly even longer, I started seeing people saying, well, now there's hope for crypto. Now there's hope for, other altcoins to basically not be deemed securities and everything to be hunky-dory. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I think people forget a lot of the times that just because one is deemed not a security does not mean the other herd of cryptos are not securities. There is definite companies that are not Ripple. They are cons. They have no real utility. They have no real user case. And they are centralized centralized entities that are controlled and monopolized by the company. And they're no different than Luna or any of these pump and dumps of the past, right? Ripple just happened to be deemed not one of them, just because, again, the way that it's co-founded and the way that it operates, it doesn't need Ripple, the company, to survive. If the company left today, it wouldn't need, XRP would not need Ripple. Ripple would not need XRP, technically, because it's just a digital token that facilitates cross-border transactions. And it does a multitude of other things, but I won't get into that. So I think people need to realize that just because something is deemed not a security does not mean your digital asset that you possess is even an asset, number one, and number two, that it's not going to be taken to court. XRP hasn't been the only one that's been taken to court over different things, not necessarily security laws, but other, problems with a crypto token. Like I know EOS and Tezos also got sued. This was several years back for different financial reasons, and they ended up settling, and it was fine. It wasn't necessarily a security thing. It was just they were deemed okay. Most people don't also realize that Ripple back in 2015 was also sued for not registering AML, and it was anti-money laundering and registering as a money service business, because at the time they were actually partnering with MoneyGram and a few other financial service companies that were basically everything that we use today. So they were actually going to partner with them, and then when that happened, they basically said, no, we're not going to do the partnership. There was a whole plethora of stuff, and I'm sure they're biting themselves in the ass now, especially because the lawsuit's over. So over the next course of probably 3 to 4 weeks, there's going to be buzz about XRP not being a security. I even have a friend that knows about crypto. He's in computer science, but he's not like really in crypto, and he even knew about XRP this morning. So I really want to come on here and just highlight that portion of, just because XRP is deemed not a security does not set the precedent for the rest of the crypto market. I think there's like a miscommunication with that, because ultimately, the regulation that I think is going to come down on most of these digital assets continuously is going to be pretty scarce, and it's going to be pretty scary, and I can kind of only imagine. I mean, the United States has not been the best regulator for the past 5 to 10 years now. They're just not good at regulation. This whole security laws getting involved in crypto assets, I mean, it's a new industry, so I get it, but it's holding up a lot of innovation and a lot of things that could be happening. So I just want to say that XRP is now the only digital asset, which I believe is a digital asset and not a fake pump and dump like most of these other security tokens. It is the only digital asset with real clarity and now going to be regulation, because it's not deemed a security. It's been tried, it's been tested, there's legal filings, documents, paperwork. It will go down in law that XRP is not a security, that it can operate and facilitate whatever it may please, which originally it operated as a money service business. They just didn't register with AML. They got sued and they had to pay a certain fine, and that was it. And then they settled, and now they're a MSB, a money service business. And that's why this new lawsuit was full of shit the entire time, because they already did this back in 2015. The dust had already settled. So what does that tell you? That tells you that there was some other play happening. And I'm going to get into that in a second. There was some other play happening that made this come out and made this a prominent case in the entire crypto world. I even talked to banks myself, like US Bank. They were like, yeah, we know about XRP, but we're hesitant to adopt because, in the US at least, because of the lawsuit and stuff. So banks already know about XRP. So I don't think, and I was listening to a YouTube channel earlier, his name's Crypto Hulk, shout out to him. And there was a person, he had a live stream, and he was doing call-ins, like people actually called into his live stream. And there was a guy that was on there that basically had said, you know, this is not a coincidence. This is not a thing, you know, that just happened by accident. And right when he said that, something clicked in my mind. And what was that clicking? Well, if you go back a few weeks ago, they were talking about FedNow going live. I believe it was around June 29th, June 30th, and it didn't go through. It was just a rumor, and then it later came out that said FedNow is going to go live July 20th. Well, today is July 13th. Between the 13th and the 20th is 7 days. So in the next week, literally next Thursday is going to, I believe it's Thursday because that's the 20th, there is going to be FedNow going live. And the reason why I mention that is because many people, including all the XRP haters, the Bitcoin maxis, all these guys out here that really, I think, in my opinion, are scamming you. They're just pump and dump coins that they tell you to invest in, and then they never amount to anything. I mean, Bitcoin and Ethereum has more validity than all the other shit coins, but again, even Bitcoin and Ethereum I wouldn't trust personally. Again, because it has no real regulation. You don't know who's behind these things. You know, people say, well, that's the whole point, is anonymity, you know, not being pseudo-anonymous, not having blah, blah, blah. In the real world, unfortunately, that's not how things work. Banks are not anonymous. Banks are not known. When you get a loan, you have to know exactly what you're signing up for. And that's just how it is. And I like the concept, don't get me wrong. I believe in libertarian principles, but in practicality, it's just not going to happen. I think Bitcoin will be around, but I just don't think it's going to be as widely used as people think. And I could be wrong, but the story is not finished yet. I digress from that. But the main thing is that most of the maxis think that, oh, well, even if FedNow goes on, you know, goes live, you know, the federal government isn't going to be using XRP. Sure, they don't have to, but who are the partnerships that are partnered with FedNow, that this payment provider, this payment system, which this system essentially is going to be the installation of the future CBDCs in the United States of America, that the Federal Reserve Bank will enact at some point in time. And I believe it's going to happen in the next 3 to 5 years or less, probably around 2025 going forward. And that's when you'll see like calamity financially, like just go haywire. But I think, you know, what my research has shown me, and you can fact check me, look it all up yourself. It's all free information out there on the web. 2 things. So number 1, Volante has partnered with Ripple. Ripple is obviously loosely related to XRP. Ripple has had multiple partnerships with banks galore. I'm not going to get into that. It's all public information. If you don't believe me, well, I'm sorry. I hate to burst your bubble, but it's already out there. It's already on the internet. There's documents, legal stuff, like all over the place. But Ripple is partnered with Volante. Volante is partnered with FedNow. Saudi Arabia and other countries like Dubai and the United Arab Emirates, the UAE, has also partnered with Ripple. Singapore has, multiple other countries between the Middle East, the West, and even parts of Russia and China as well. And these partnerships are crucial because Ripple, in my opinion, is going to be another either central bank or another intermediary that has to do with CBDCs, that has to do with cross-border payments, specifically more so for financial institutions. Stellar, on the other hand, XLM, that one will have definite ties to regular people like you or me. And that one will do the same thing, but for people instead of banks. But XRP is specifically for banks. That's why I believe XRP is a lot more valuable than Stellar, but I think Stellar will be a pretty good valued crypto asset as well. So, why am I telling you this? Because I'm telling you this because there's going to come a day where everybody thinks that these cryptos and that cryptos are the key to the future, and they're not. It's a bait and switch. The more and more that I hear stuff and read stuff and just look on the internet for myself, the more and more I draw closer to better conclusions. Now, I don't have really any price predictions on XRP XLM. My hope is that it would reach all-time highs, and reach thousands of dollars, but I don't really know. It could hit only maybe $1, who knows? The point is, though, is if the currency changes and the financial system resets, I don't think we're going to be looking at a value system the same that we have now, especially with all the debt in the system that we have. That's where I think utility cryptos like an XRP or XLM or any of the ISO 222 compliant cryptos, which if you don't know what that is, it's basically a new it's a standard digital messaging system that SWIFT and the Bank of International Monetary Funds is basically adopting and using going forward, and other banks around the world are going to be using that at a later time compared to what they have now. So it's like an upgrade basically, but there are specific cryptos that are in that realm that are supposed to facilitate the messaging and the whole science behind it better, essentially, right? And some people believe it, some people don't. It's kind of a polarizing topic in the crypto space because, again, there's a lot of skeptics and people who just only believe in Bitcoin and Ethereum. And I hate to break it to you, but those aren't the one and done be all. Bitcoin and Ethereum, in my opinion, just personally, I don't even know if it'll last the century. Versus XRP, XLM, I could see that lasting for hundreds of years, possibly even thousands of years, depending on the technology in which we get to at that point. And the reason being is because it's just easier, faster, cheaper. Bitcoin and Ethereum are slower, expensiver, that's not even a word, more expensive, and not environmentally friendly, which, as you can see, the climate initiatives are to cut, carbon emissions by a certain percentage by 2030. So, if the global elites and everybody's going to do a reset on the financial system, why would they go to technologies that, number one, cause more harm than good into the environment, and number two, are slow, unsecured? There's no way to have a private ledger or private chain like XRP does for banks and other intermediaries, right? And people look at that as like, oh, well, that's terrible. They shouldn't be doing that. Depends on what way you look at it. You got to follow the money. Where is the money going? They're not going to tell you where the money is going. They're just going to tell you what to invest in mainstream. You have BlackRock, the CEO, up there on Fox saying, yeah, he's hopeful for Bitcoin, that it's it's digital gold, that it's scarce, the whole Bitcoin spiel. When this guy months ago was talking about, distributed ledger technology, which if you look that up, Bitcoin doesn't have, it doesn't even, they're not even classifying it into that category because of, again, the climate thing. It uses a mining consensus protocol that it's not good, like mining rigs and mining farms, and there's not a way for where they can control it, and that's what they want, is they want a form of control. Not saying they can control XRP, but XRP is it's special because it's a bridge between those CBDCs and, you know, settling cross borders. A lot of people think though that, oh, you don't need to use XRP, you don't need to use it, you can use other tokens, and they're not wrong. Yes, you can, but if you don't use it, things are going to go a lot slower. That's why XRP is interoperable with other technologies versus, you know, Bitcoin and other cryptos are not. There's a specific reason and a purpose behind it. I highly believe it's going to be used. I think that once they collateralize the debt and they have a tokenized economy where if you want a piece of real estate, you could either borrow against the asset you hold, which would be your digital assets, or, you know, you can essentially transact with something like an XRP into that to buy it at whatever price it is. I think either way you'll be able to do that because XRP is essentially a currency. It's a form of currency. It doesn't mean that it's like a dollar world reserve currency, but it's a form of a currency that can be changed and is a true intermediary between, or a medium of exchange, as they say, median of exchange, where it is a true median exchange. You can basically, you know, turn your XRP into a fiat, turn it into gold, redeem it in gold, redeem it in fiat, redeem it in physical tangible assets. You can trade it even for things like oil. If you don't believe me, go on, what is it? There's a website. It's a stock index website, and basically you can look at the trading pairs between XRP and oil. I recently found out about that a few months ago. I believe it's called TradingView. So look up on TradingView, just type up XRP, and you could even put in XRP oil, and it'll come up with a trading pair, meaning the trading pair is basically you converting that XRP into oil or the oil into XRP, either way. And actually there's two. Bitcoin can do that and XRP, but if you look up any other crypto assets, you will not be able to, you know, have those trading pairs, including XLM. You can't do that. So that's why I think Bitcoin will be around. I just don't think it's going to be as massive as people think. And if it is, great. But I don't think that it only stops with Bitcoin. I think it's going to keep going with a few other digital assets, but it'll be limited. Just like in the, you know, early 2000s with the .com crash. There came 5 or 10 companies that ended up surpassing the hundreds of companies that failed. It's going to be the same thing, but in this case, digital assets. So I highly encourage you guys to read up, research. Don't listen to everything that you hear on the internet, including even me. And full disclaimer, I'm not telling you to invest in XRP. I'm just kind of telling you a story about it. You know, please do your own research and do your own due diligence. You know, with any financial or investment decisions, and always consult a financial advisor. Probably should have said that at the beginning, but I didn't really tell you guys to invest anyway. But these are my thoughts, these are my conclusions, and if you guys have any questions, drop it down below in the comments. I'm out of here. Peace.